Hey team, welcome back to another episode of the TPA Deep Dive, where we get under the hood of pipeline failures and pull out the lessons that matter most for field integrity. Today's episode is about a FlexPipe rupture. But it's not just about a single failure, it's about what happens when thermal expansion, slugging, and system design all collide in the field. This one comes straight from the Bigoray Oilfield, an elevated temperature emulsion line with a FlexPipe liner inside a steel carrier pipe. Let's get into it. Now, the pipe in question was a freestanding FlexPipe 301HT liner installed after an external corrosion failure on the original steel pipe. It had been running fine for almost 4 years until it didn't. On December 27, 2021, the riser at 10 to 15 let go. So what happened? Here's the short version. It failed because the design didn't fully account for the real-world operating conditions. We are talking thermal expansion that wasn't absorbed, terrain-induced slugging that wasn't anticipated, and time-based fatigue that no one planned for. Let's unpack that. First, thermal expansion. At 70 degrees Celsius, the FlexPipe expands by about 1% per 50 degrees Celsius increase. In this case, that meant up to 4 meters of elongation. Now, if the pipe had room to flex, it might have handled it. But when constrained, say, by a steel riser or tight carrier pipe, those forces become destructive. Fibers begin to stretch, break, and weaken the structure. Second, terrain-induced slugging. This wasn't just a slow, steady flow of fluid. Gas and liquid were surging, interacting with elevation changes and bends in the pipe. The result? High-velocity liquid slugs hammering the FlexPipe, especially where movement was restricted. The fibers get hit, flex, wear out, and eventually break. And the worst part? These two mechanisms fed off each other. Initial damage from thermal cycles softened the structure. Then terrain-induced slugging delivered the knockout blow. This wasn't an isolated oversight. The report shows that the entire design process underestimated how severe field conditions could become. They didn't model the effects of frequent thermal cycles or the cumulative impact of slugging at bends and rises. That's where engineering assessments make a difference. They bring real operating data into the picture, not just lab specs. And they ask the right questions. Can this pipe expand safely? What happens when slugs hit a fixed riser? How does the structure degrade over time? From this failure came recommendations we should all take seriously. First, limit flow and temperature. Keep liquids under 150 cubic meters per day and ops below 30 degrees Celsius. That dramatically reduces the risk of both thermal stress and slugging damage. Second, verify integrity. Pressure test suspect lines. Expose key joints. Use cameras where you can't dig. Don't guess, check. And third, prioritize your risers. Look for movement. Shifting risers are the first sign your system's under stress. In the end, this wasn't just a material failure. It was a mismatch between field conditions and system assumptions. And it's a reminder to all of us, pipelines don't fail in theory, they fail in terrain. That's it for today's episode. Stay sharp out there and keep asking, are we designing for the field or just for the drawing board?